I showed up to my own funeral and sat in the back row and listened to every person I ever loved say what they were never able to tell me to my face. My doctor gave me 6 months in January. By March, I had made a decision that nobody in my life knew about. I had read about it once, a terminal man who faked his death to hear his eulogy, to finally know what people actually thought before he was gone. I had dismissed it as the kind of story that only works in movies. Then I was the one with 6 months, and I understood it completely. I told one person, my lawyer, because I needed the logistics handled. He thought I had lost my mind. He helped me anyway. The obituary ran on a Thursday. Heart failure, peaceful, survived by his 2 children and his ex-wife Carol and a brother in Phoenix. My phone was off and in a drawer. I watched from a distance as the world I had built processed my absence. The service was at 2 p.m. on a Saturday. Small funeral home, 50 people maximum. I arrived 20 minutes early in a hat and glasses that felt absurd and sat in the last row against the wall where the light was bad. My daughter spoke first. She is 26 and composed in a way I always admired and slightly worried about. Too good at holding herself together, learned it young, learned it from watching me. She stood at that podium and was composed for exactly 1 minute before she wasn't. She talked about a morning when she was 7 years old and had a nightmare and came to my room, and I had stayed up with her until sunrise, making up stories. She said she had never told me that she still thought about that morning when things got hard, that it had been her proof for 20 years that she was safe in the world. I had no memory of that morning. None. It was ordinary to me. It was everything to her. My son spoke next. He is 23, and we had been in a rough patch for 2 years over something that felt enormous at the time, and I cannot fully reconstruct the importance of now. He stood up there and didn't talk about the rough patch at all. He talked about who I was before it. He talked about me the way you talk about someone you love when you have finally decided that the love is larger than the argument. He said he had been meaning to call. 3 words that took every bit of composure I had left. Carol spoke last. We had been divorced for 11 years. She was calm and precise and said that I had been a difficult man to be married to and a good man to have known, and that those two things had always existed in her at the same time without one canceling the other out. She said she hoped wherever I was, I had finally learned to rest. I had not learned to rest. I was sitting in the back row in a hat and glasses, learning things about myself I should have known decades ago. I walked out before it ended because I could not sit there any longer without going to them. I called my daughter that evening. She screamed, then cried, then screamed again. I told her everything, the diagnosis, the decision, the back row. She drove to me that night and sat across from me at my kitchen table and alternated between fury and relief in a way that was completely fair. My son came the next morning. We talked for 6 hours and resolved in one conversation what 2 years of stubbornness had refused to move. Carol called on Sunday, said she had 2 things to say. First, that what I did was insane. Second, that she was glad I was still alive to be insane. I have 4 months left according to January's estimate. Could be more, could be less. Bodies don't read calendars. But I know now what I didn't know before that Saturday. I know what mourning my daughter carries with her. I know my son's love is bigger than our argument. I know Carol held 2 things about me at once and never let one erase the other. I sat in the back row of my own funeral and heard everything I should have been told while I was living. Don't wait for someone to be gone to tell them what they mean to you. I had to die to find out.